We're back, people, and today we're breaking down film on Tua Tagovailoa, and we're using this film to disprove all these false narratives that have been around Tua for his entire career, but specifically this season. Starting off with like the processing, people are saying he's not really processing the field, he's just manipulating with his eyes, which he does do sometimes. He's definitely manipulating with his eyes. He does it a lot. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL at manipulating with his eyes, and that's not such a bad thing. People also using the whole narrative that he doesn't create plays, he doesn't do things off script. Well, he is one of the most efficient quarterbacks in the NFL on script when everything's good. He's got the timing, anticipation, all of that. Another knock people are trying to use, even though that's a positive of his game. But he does have enough athleticism, enough pocket awareness to create off script, and also going back to the eye manipulation, that is creating himself. People always saying he's throwing to wide open receivers, which is not true. He does throw to wide open receivers sometimes because he does have Hill and Waddle, and the scheme is so good, but it's not always just throwing to wide open receivers. That's just another false narrative. The yards after catch, just look at the stats. He's one of the lowest QBs percentage-wise when it comes to yards after catch. And using yak to disprove, something about the QB's plays, also not a negative. If you're getting yards after catch, that means you're usually throwing the ball with good accuracy and timing, allowing your receivers to get yards after catch. And then, obviously the weak arm. Usually those underthrown deep balls have nothing to do with his arm strength. It's just throwing the ball a little bit late or throwing with too much touch, trying to be too perfect with it. He just needs to let it rip. And then back to, all these other theories that you hear about Tua. We'll get everything mixed in. I'm going to be showing plays that usually disprove at least a few of these theories just in one play. So let's get right into this one. We're going to start off with this beautiful throw that he threw to Trent Sherfield against the Bills in his last game. It doesn't get really any better than this. Just to, everyone thinks he only throws to Hill and Waddle. Hill and Waddle, this was one of those games where they weren't used that often. And this also helps with his ability to create, because look at the corner when he throws this. He does a great job thinking that he's going to throw this flat to Tyreek just with his body language, and it freezes the CB, so he helps create this open space, and that's a tight window throw, just enough to fit this in here. And obviously, don't even have to talk about the accuracy, the ball placement, that anticipation that he throws with. If you're trying to dispute that Tua is not good at those things, then I just don't think you really know what you're talking about. Obviously, he knows where he's going with this football. And one other thing, when he's talking about throwing to wide open receivers, usually when you're throwing to a wide open receiver all the time, it means you just know where to go with the football and that you're reading the football or reading the field well consistently. Other QBs, especially like Josh Allen, one of the best QBs in the NFL, his third year, 2020, when they got Stephon Diggs, receivers, I've never seen anything like it. Receivers were wide open 95% of the time he dropped back. It was insane. And now he's thriving, making tight window throws as well. Usually that thing only works in college when you're just throwing to wide open receivers and you're translating it to the NFL. Now he's in the NFL. He's making all types of throws, wide open, reading the field, and then making these tight window throws. Beautiful ball placement right there to Trent Sherfield. This is great mental processing, running the smash concept versus cover 2 to the boundary here. Just reading the corner, who's the flat defender. He sees him bite down on Hill and then is able to manipulate, give a little bit of a pump fake there to make him bite too, and then throws the corner route with perfect timing, ball placement. And basically, another play, not getting yards after catch. Rarely, like he only had a few plays this season where a receiver had more yards after catch than he actually had on his catch itself. Just hasn't been that many examples overall. Just a really dumb thing that's been pointed out. It just hasn't been a huge part of the Dolphins offense this season. I know Hill, Waddle get a lot of yards after catch stat-wise, but that's because they're so high in just actual yardage. Like Tyreek Hill's number 1 in the NFL in yardage. So yeah, his yak is going to be higher, even though it's like 4th. So it's something that's kind of ridiculous and just another narrative that people have been trying to build against Tua. Look at this absolute perfect throw from Tua into the tight window. Ball placement just doesn't get any better than that. Just outstretched of the arms of the linebacker. We can watch it from the other side. Obviously, another play, no yards after the catch. He's also making a quick read off the RPO. He's just reading defenders, getting the ball out, quick decisions. And then, watch 44 right past the fingertips of this guy to the back shoulder, and then also puts it low to keep him away from the big hit from the safety. Ball placement doesn't get any better than that. He can make these tight windows throws. I know there's a lot of times he's throwing to wide open receivers, but a lot of those times he's the reason they're wide open, or he's at least a part of it. Waddle, Hill, McDaniel are all doing a great job of getting themselves wide open, or McDaniel scheming them open, but Tua playing a big part in that. And the processing, he's getting the ball out with so much anticipation that is, another big reason to why those plays look like they could be negatives. Another good example of Tua going through his reads, doesn't like what he sees over here. 1, 2, third read to come to Waddle. He's not using his eyes to manipulate. He's just not looking to the left here just to look off some guy's hold. His first, number 1, dead to Sherfield. Hill in the flat, also dead, taken away here. He has a 2-on-3 advantage, so he comes off of it, stays patient. He doesn't just throw this wide right away. He lets Waddle come open and then throws a nicely placed ball to him in the end zone. Another big touchdown. Obviously, no yak because it's caught in the end zone. Here's a good example of Tua using his eyes to manipulate, to create a window for him to throw to. Tight window, obviously. Waddle catches it, is on the ground immediately. These are all these plays, these chunk plays, picking up first downs. It was on third down again, where he's not, getting any yards after catch. He's using his eyes, getting the linebacker to float out, and then delivering it right into the window. Perfect ball placement in between 3 defenders. Just doesn't get much better than that when you're doing that. He's creating with his eyes. Not all people need to play like Patrick Mahomes and create and, use their feet, throw, sidearm 40 yards down the field. Mahomes is one of a kind. Only a few other quarterbacks in the NFL can even make plays similar to that. And Tua is not one of those guys. He can do enough off script, but he does his creating in the pocket, in structure, and then gets his guys open and then delivers perfectly placed balls play after play. This touchdown to Gesicki is Tua's one of his best example of him processing. I know McDaniel after the game said this was his 4th read. Just look at his eyes and feet together here. Like he comes off 1, he goes to 2, comes back to 3 down here to Hill, and then none of these are open. Mind is moving so quickly. Like usually people use the word twitchy to describe how someone moves. Like Tyreek Hill is a twitchy player, like one of the best examples of that. Tua almost has like a twitchy brain. Like I think Daniel Jeremiah used that when he came out. That is his twitchy brain, just how he sees the field, and then just the accuracy, putting this away from the safety, protecting your receiver down the field. And just another example, him making a big play on third down. He makes plays on big downs. He's clutch. And another play, in the end zone, touchdown, no yards after the catch, obviously. So many of these theories, these narratives just being disproved play after play here in the film. I want to talk about some tight window throws and Tua's arm strength. Here's a good example of him throwing with a bunch of velocity into a very tight window. This one's not where he's just like floating it over someone, fitting it with perfect ball placement and touch. This is just an absolute rocket off the left arm. I don't really worry about his velocity. This is where most people, when you worry about arm strength, it rarely has to do with throwing the ball deep down the field. It has to do with more hitting either, the deep comebacks from the opposite hash, or when you have to just drive it into a tight window. Everything's good with Tua, and he can, get his hips, great technical in the backfield, and he can drive down. That is a perfectly placed ball with a lot of velocity right into River Craycraft's bread basket. Just doesn't get any better than that with the whole tight window and the arm strength thing, because he definitely has enough arm strength to play at this level. And he also has the other things that make up for the lack of arm strength, because he doesn't have the strongest arm, obviously, but he makes up for it with his anticipation, ball placement, his quick release. He has a very, very quick release. And then obviously the mechanics in the back, or in playing quarterback, have been a lot better this year, and it's made his velocity increase and his accuracy too. A good example of pre-snap look showing man-to-man and him processing post-snap that they're running zone. They're trying to run a man beater here too to get this wheel out to Waddle, but he reads the zone. They're showing this pre-snap look that might be either cover 2 man, or they come down cover 1 robber and get the wheel out to Waddle, and then everyone goes into his zone. He reads this. He sees these 2 guys sit on the route to Hill, and you might think, oh, he's throwing to another wide open guy, but he is just processing so quickly that this ball is out on time to make it look like he's open, and then he gets tackled right as he catches it. Another, 18-yard chunk play where there's no yards after catch. Again, third down. I mean, Tua, if you want to dispute that Tua is the best fourth down QB in the NFL, the numbers are there to back it up. The film's there to back it up. He's just super efficient all around. This play is a good example of a lot of those theories that I was talking about earlier in the video. Just watching him feel the pressure here, doing a little bit of creating right here. Not everything's perfect. He comes off his read to this side of the field. This is him processing. This is him creating with his feet here just enough to get up in the pocket. Also creating with his eyes, body language to get this linebacker to bite down on this route to Gesicki, and then hitting Waddle over the middle of the field. Yeah, he's open, but he did a good job of opening that window himself with his eyes, with his feet here, stepping up in the pocket. Look at him manipulating this guy down to 51, throwing it right behind him. And then another play, no yards after the catch. Again, he's making these throws routinely down the field. Tua haters will see this play and just think, oh, Tua just dumping it off again, getting it out, letting the person work after the catch. That's not what's happening here. On this play, he's processing things so quickly. He's not manipulating with his eyes like people are trying to say that's all he's been doing. Here he's processing. He's seeing, the quick glance over the middle of the field to Tyreek is dead. This linebacker's taking it away. Seeing the wheel route is getting out leveraged right here. Nothing to go here. So he comes off and just gets the ball out quickly into the flat. This is a good play from a quarterback. This is quick processing. And Tua is not just dumping it off all season long like people want to think. He's hitting these routes to Hill and Waddle a lot more often than he is hitting the dump off because it's open. But this time it's not open. He doesn't like this read, so he dumps it off quickly, makes a mature veteran QB decision. And this is the growth that I love to see from Tua. And it's just something that these haters, basically, the people who don't like Tua, will try to use as an example of him, just dumping it off. But this is just a rarity to his game. Tua's first touchdown in the Browns game was another example of him creating. He gets a little pump fake, gets off script, and then finds Ingle down in the flat. He keeps his eyes. He does a really good job manipulating defenders at all three levels, but just using this pump fake to get the edge to jump and then, pull back down, get it back out, allow Ingle to get to work. He also read that Hill, Waddle weren't open, on the Dolphins, really common route concept that they love to run on this RPO. Tua being one of the best RPO quarterbacks in the NFL, but this year he's taken the next step, working a whole offense, and he's just been lights out. Don't understand all these narratives. I just think people want to prove themselves right about Tua because so many people were negative about him. But if you really watched the film, you saw that he really had no help through the first two seasons. The coach did not believe in him, and when you're a quarterback, it's really hard to succeed with those things around him. I think people try to say he's in one of the best situations the quarterback's ever had right now. I don't think it's the best. He's in a great situation now, but I don't think it's the best ever. And then, because they really only added like Hill and Armstead, but his first two seasons, he was in one of the worst two situations I've ever seen a quarterback be in, really, especially his rookie year. He had the worst O-line, no pass targets to throw to. He didn't even have Waddle at that point, and then no running game, and then no support from the coach. So Tua really silencing the haters this year, even though they keep trying to come up with new things week after week. Tua with another tight window throw, perfect ball placement, perfect touch, getting it over the arms of the defender to Gesicki this time. People keep trying to use this narrative that he's not pushing the ball downfield. This is a 20-yard completion. Only a few of those yards are after the catch. Just these big chunk plays. He's on the move here and then throws it over this first defender out in front of him and then doesn't lead him too far to get hit by the safety. Throws it right into the numbers, allows him to protect himself. Just all these narratives don't make any sense. You can literally just go through his film, watch 60 of his plays, and a majority of them, those narratives are just completely proved wrong. And even some of the narratives, they just don't even make sense because they're taking away from his positive plays and trying to spin them into a negative thing, like with the manipulation. People are trying to say, oh, he's not really processing. He's just moving guys with his eyes. Well, yeah, moving guys with his eyes is a good thing. It happens a lot, but he's also processing at a high level when he needs to get through his progressions. Another tight window throw from Tua. This is about as accurate as a throw can be. It obviously doesn't end up being a touchdown. This is a good example. Like this right here, you can tell when Tua is trying to manipulate with his eyes and when he's actually, just reading the other side of the field. Here, you can tell he's manipulating his eyes because look how he just snaps back to here. He knows he's coming the ball to Gesicki, and it does create that window. Look how much he moves Fitzpatrick. You can see it even better from this angle, and you can tell how perfectly thrown the ball this is. Look at 39. He moves him just enough, opens up this window, and then the ball ends up hitting Gesicki right in the face mask. I believe Gesicki's right arm is getting pulled by this defender. They don't call it. It should have been holding or DPI, but it hits Gesicki right in the helmet. Another tight window throw from Tua down in the red zone where you have to be able to make those tight window throws. I just don't understand where this thing is coming from, that Tua doesn't just throws to wide open receivers, because no one really just throws to wide open receivers every single play in the NFL. Yes, it happens in college. NFL level, you can't get away with that. I don't care who your receivers are. They're not going to be wide open every single play. Sometimes things get schemed away, and he's not throwing to Hill and Waddle every single play that he's passing. And then because Gesicki, not really a separation type, and he's hitting him right between the numbers, right in the face mask here, but pretty much every single time. Tua creating, feeling in the pocket, this time using his feet, steps up, feels the pressure on his left and his right, gets up, knows where he has his outlet, his check down, and he gets the ball down into the flat. He keeps his eyes up too. You got to be able to do this when you're creating. To be able to create off script, obviously you got to have a little bit of athleticism at least. Tua has enough to do this, especially in the pocket, and he has a good pocket awareness to feel this, get up, and then keep your eyes downfield. Likes what he sees with Mostert, and then gets out, gives him a good placed ball to pick up, these yards after the catch to get in the end zone. Doesn't slow him down too much there with the ball placement, and then, get the touchdown. Tua creating off script. That was another third down situation. Again, Tua, amazing on third down. Almost all these plays I've shown have been on third down. That's where he's making his money this year. And they keep trying to tell me, they keep that on all these big sports networks, these random people on Twitter, that Tua is not throwing the ball down the field, and when he is throwing the ball down the field, it's to wide open guys, and he's underthrowing them. But this one, not open at all, not to Tyreek or to Waddle, just a perfectly placed ball over the middle of the field, a 30-yard gain, most of it not being after the catch, only a few of those yards being after the catch. Tight window to Sherfield. Doesn't really get better than this. This one, he is using his eyes there. Look, you can tell that he's mainly manipulating with his eyes, thinking that what he sees with his safety, he's probably going to throw this over the middle of the field with too high. Comes off it, snaps it back, and then just perfectly placed to Sherfield between the numbers. Sherfield took a perfect angle, perfect side adjustment on his route too. This right here is excellent ball placement versus zone. Because when you're, running zone, you got to be able to throw guys open. You really just don't throw it any better than this, between these 4 defenders. Basically 5 defenders, because he's floating it over this guy too. Puts it on his back shoulder, protects him. People are trying to hate on him. This is an absolutely great play. Look at him slide up a little bit in the pocket, feel his pressure, keep his eyes downfield, staying calm, poised, I meant poised, and then gives a perfect delivery to Mike Gesicki there. Just play after play. I'm scrolling through the film, and all these narratives just don't make any sense to me, and not making any of, these tough throws. That's a perfect throw with perfect touch, perfect ball placement. Everything that you can say about that play, it was amazing. One of the biggest plays of the season from Tua, because it's obviously 3rd and 20, to open up the middle of the field for Waddle. Waddle also gets open by himself, but he also is holding this safety over here with his eyes, so he has to respect this route from Tyreek, and then delivers an absolute beauty down the field. Obviously has enough arm strength to get it down there. This play made by Tua and Waddle. At this point, I've shown some of Tua's biggest plays of the season from him, and none of them had really any big yards after the catch play. This is by far the most yards he's had after the catch. The big Waddle play versus the Ravens obviously picks up a lot of yards there. I think it ends up being about a 60-yard gain, 59 yards, I believe. But this is a reason I just don't like the yards after catch narrative, because look at the ball placement from Tua. If he throws this where Waddle's route is going, which is straight towards this safety who's coming towards the middle of the field, the yards after the catch is dead. But look where he puts the ball. He puts it on his back shoulder and leads Waddle away from the safety, which allows him to pick up the yards after catch. The whole yards after catch thing is only really relevant is when they're just dumping the ball off to the running back the whole game, or throwing the ball out screens quick into the flat. When you're picking up yards after the catch and it's, to a throw 15, 20 yards down the field already, and then it's picked up because of your ball placement, that is a good thing from the quarterback. So I think fans, people, not even fans, just the media, people who are experts, really need to understand that this whole yards after catch thing is really easy. I believe Waddle's, that play right there, and Waddle also has another 60-yard gain on a screen, and it's from Teddy or Skyler. I don't remember which one it was, but it wasn't Tua. And Tyreek hasn't gotten too many screens this season. I think he got 1 or 2 that got 10 yards, so it's not that many of his yards because he has 1,100. So yeah, this whole yak thing is really dumb. I just love watching Tua throw to wide open guys all day. This is what he does, just throws to wide open guys Oh wait, he's throwing an absolutely perfect throw where only his guy can get it. This guy is not wide open. Like, I'm pretty sure the percentage that this is caught is very, very low. And just look at this placement over the safeties, and then put it away from this safety who's coming at him full speed. The ball placement, throwing it where only Kinsey can get it. It's an us or no one ball, and that was a huge, huge play in the game. So yeah, just another play. Just getting rid of this dumb narrative. Very good example of Tua creating off script in the backfield, spinning out of it, making that defender look silly, and then keeping his eyes down the field. I'm pretty sure this play trended on Twitter. People trying to say they're thinking this was a high-level throw. Stupid Dolphins fans. Some Dolphins fans are kind of dumb. I mean, every fan base has some dumb fans, obviously. But this one right here, obviously not talking about the throw itself. He's talking about him creating off script, which people saying he can't do. Obviously, he has some of it. It's not his biggest strength, but he definitely has enough to where it's functional at the next level. And then, still deliver a perfectly thrown ball where you can't line it up because of the defender that's closing on you, Jason Owe, who's like a 4-3-8 edge defender. Can't really line this up, get the hip torque that he wants, and still delivers a nicely thrown ball to an open receiver, which he's open because Tua got out of the pocket and created and got him open. Obviously, if he doesn't spin out there, his receiver never comes open this late into the play. Last play that I'm going to break down from Tua, one of the biggest plays of the season, if not the biggest play, just because it was the game-winning touchdown versus the Ravens, which just felt like a huge turning point for Tua. It felt like he was starting to get some respect that he deserves from the media because not everyone was respecting him. It just started to get him those eyes and at least some respect from some fans, some media. And yeah, he just gets up in the pocket. Great job feeling. And this is obviously not a wide open receiver. This is him creating new yards after catch, him getting through his reads too, nothing open, and then throws his receiver open, putting it up where this TB has no chance to get it. Only Waddle has a chance to make a play, and then you get the game-winning touchdown. So obviously, all these narratives, I don't agree with pretty much any of them, even though, especially because a lot of the narratives are like, they try to like spin them like they're negative, but then I'm watching these plays, I'm like, no, that's actually a very positive play from Tua. You can try to spin it as a negative, like, oh, he's fake processing. Oh, he's not, actually getting through his progressions. He's just manipulating with his eyes. Well, that's actually a good thing, you idiot. But, yeah, just, I've loved watching Tua grow and really just prove that haters wrong this season because I've been a huge Tua fan since he's come out of college. I've known what I've seen from him, just the traits that he displayed in college, and they've all translated to the NFL, and he's actually grown in a lot of areas too, specifically processing. Like, his processing has improved a lot getting through his progressions this season, and Mike Daniels just helped unlock that. I mean, if you want to, say that he's gotten all this help now, he's in one of the greatest situations. Well, yeah, he is, but he's taking advantage of it more than most QBs would. He's playing efficient, and he's a huge, huge part of this offense success because you've seen what the offense was like without him. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.